All right, it is 7 o'clock. I'm going to call the Plainfield Agriculture Commission's regular meeting
Oh,
for March
that's it, I don't
3rd.
have to, okay.
Roll
Oh,
call
I
and
got
attendance
it.
will be done through minutes being recorded by Sherry. Everybody should have had an opportunity to print or look at the regular meeting minutes from February 22nd. If you need a few more minutes, I'll let you do that.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor to approve February 22nd's minutes as written, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The minutes will carry. Old business, community outreach. So Vern, you had asked last month.
Any ideas, anybody, for a speaker?
So, interesting, Vern. I've spent a lot of time meeting a lot of raffle winners.
How did you do that?
So I have an idea. So as I've been talking to all these people and it's been a wonderful experience.
That's good.
To talk to people and thank them personally for contributing and it's been giving me an opportunity 75 plus times to talk about what we do. In those conversations, I've been telling people about our community outreach. And so I think we need to do a PR post on our Facebook page to really see what people are interested in. So I will work on a post for that on our social media site to see if we can find out what other people are interested in. And so I think that would be our first place to start, see what is wanted. So.
I think that's
Because
great.
I was thinking, just off the top, we could get Mr. Martin, Logi's greenhouse.
Yep, bees again.
And come back with bees.
Yep.
That was just my idea, but.
Yeah, and we can certainly have repeat people come back.
Yeah.
Let's see what people want. Let's see if we can get anybody to say what they want and go from there.
I think we
You want me to go approach him or not? Just
Not yet.
Okay.
No, let's see if we can find out, because if people say what they want, then we should go find the person who can fit that, and we'll start there. So, awesome.
Okay, sounds good.
Scholarship and fundraising.
All right, well, we had a real good month of March. We made $820 at between my event I had AJ's towing gave me $100, so we had $720 plus another 100, so it's $820.
Oh, okay, so on the back, I just want to make a notation.
Yep.
So these were rough numbers I put in as holders, so just so you know. So it's $820 for your event?
Yep.
Okay. All right, keep going.
At the winter market, we did $3,650.
Impressive. Just so you know, last year's was 2,396. So that is a whole $1,300 more.
Excellent.
If you subtract the costs out of that, or is that just?
That is just raffle. That
That's
is
no
pure
cost.
profit.
That's all
Pure
profit.
profit.
That has nothing, there's no cost associated with
Yeah,
the
and
raffles.
the Mason's breakfast was $740.
Yep.
Okay.
So I
Awesome.
don't know what the total is, but very happy.
Can somebody quickly add those
Yep.
three numbers up for me so I can just include that as one big?
One big hoopla. We are on 52, so.
3641, 741, 820. $5,210. Great.
And that was awesome. Like I said, everything went well. Jennie took care of all the raffle items, and I appreciate that.
Can I, for a second, have a funny here?
Go ahead.
So, clearly a lot of the people that are in ag come to this event, a lot of people we're related to, a lot of us. And so, and you got to experience one of our hiccups. And so one family reached out to me on the third day and said, so Mike dropped off raffles, you're calling me up saying I have more raffles. But it was very funny. I'm like, don't worry about us, we're good. Because it was just how many raffles we had. It was well over 100 items, which was a pretty daunting number. So I have a suggestion for next year. I think it would help take some of the burden off of local businesses and Mike. If we are going to, and I'm not gonna, Sherry has a full update, but I would like to make the recommendation that maybe we shift to just the vendor raffle donations for the raffle.
Yes.
And then that way, over 60 is still a lot of raffles, but it will kind of, and then I think we might be better prepared going into it with documentation and how we can have everything written down because we're not having, that's just a small suggestion. The other thing I want to do is I drafted, and I use K&H just because Jennie's on our commission, so I knew she wouldn't mind. But I drafted a letter. So what I would like to do is leverage the fact that we made $5,210 from community members. These are people within our community. I'd also like to make notation that people who came to pick up raffles, several were from Thompson and 2 were from Rhode Island. So, and 1 was from New Britain. So people came a very far distance to come to our market. So we are clearly making a name for ourselves. I feel that I want to take Mike's hard work from March with the raffles, his events that he did, and now leverage businesses in the town of Plainfield to say, let's match what our community did on their own. So the letter in front of you is a draft about how how we could approach businesses. I do feel strongly, however, to not approach businesses who donated to our raffle. I feel that the businesses who have donated to our raffle have been faithful. I know exactly who they are. These are businesses that I want to tap into for a monetary donation to see if we can meet. I want the goal to be $5,000, to say, hey, our town people gave greater than town people, but gave $5,000 to our scholarship, what will you do? I'm going to start with Plainfield businesses because we are Plainfield. However, remember our scholarship is a regional scholarship, so I would like to branch out to Killingly because we have given our scholarship to, I believe, 3 Killingly people. A Brooklyn person has received it. So what are you guys' thoughts on this?
I move that you do whatever edits you need to do on this, and you do this.
Go for it. Go for
In
it.
a very nice
So I
way.
have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion about the letter? Oh, I want to draw your attention to the bottom, what we will do for you. So I think it's important that, at that winter market, we make a notification of the businesses that donate. I would like to be able to say to these businesses, we will post your business on our social media site. I do have to confirm with Jordan if we can put a document on the website.
We absolutely can, because we had seed donor businesses that I had put on the website.
Super, so I don't know how everybody feels about that, but are we okay? Okay. Because I would like to be able to acknowledge these businesses, and I will also check to see if we can get our raffle item people up there as well, because I certainly don't want to, because I think we should be promoting business. Anyway, thanks, that's all I got.
Did we actually vote?
Motion.
No, we didn't, we have a motion on the table, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor for edits to the letter and proceeding with soliciting local businesses for monetary donations, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Luann. The other thing I wanted to mention about scholarship is I did reach out to the Community Foundation of Eastern Connecticut. So that is the kind of goal we've always had. That is where we can put our monies to be perpetuating in nature, meaning that it will forever give. I reached out to them because I noticed that they made a change on their website. We had initially thought it was $12,500 in order to get to that point. They changed it to $25,000. So I did call them and found out some further information. So the $25,000 is true if you want to have a grant that they fully manage. However, they have a non-endowed option, which means that they kind of just hold your money there, and that you can do at $10,000, which we clearly have met. They sent me all the documents, I read through them one time, and I just want to make sure that this is the absolute best option for us. So when I talk about the letter tweaks, I will look into this. One of the challenges with using this foundation, one, we lose all control. So I just want everybody to understand that. When we commit to this, we lose our control to pick a recipient, and we also lose the control to have specific parameters set. When I was speaking with her today, she actually had to go to their board to see if they could even allow it to be as restrictive as saying ag-only careers. So I want to make sure before we take that leap that is criteria that I feel very strongly about. That's the purpose of our scholarship, is to promote people who are going into agriculture, fields that will support agriculture. She felt that they wouldn't get enough applicants, and I said, well, we get them now. We would continue to post for people to apply to our scholarship, but how this foundation works, and I'm just explaining this all to you so you understand how the foundation works. They have one master application that anyone can go and fill out one time, and then they have access to their $18 million worth of scholarship funding. Like they manage, I think it's like 400 or 600 different scholarships. So for those of you who have people who are graduating with, go here and fill out the application. But I just want to make sure it meets that criteria before we fully go all in, huh? Yeah, I know, I didn't either. So I'm also going to research to see if there are other things, and then I'm going to, Mike looked into if we could take our, because right now, the money we fundraise goes and sits inside the town of Plainfield's kind of like account, right? It's ours, it's earmarked for us, we made it, it sits there, but it's just sitting there. So Mike actually reached out to see if we could take the money out and put it into some sort of investing, like a CD, where we could at least be making an interest on it. Because right now, it's been there since 2016, just sitting there.
It makes us money.
So we are pursuing other ways that we can legally and ethically take this money and put it into a place until we figure out what we do. Because when we talk about,
ridiculous, I mean, all money that sits there, just sits there, doesn't get any.
well, it might be getting interest though, but not necessarily for us personally. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's, the town might be benefiting from our money sitting there, but
Because it goes into the general fund.
So that it would, okay.
yeah,
So
so,
and when I asked them about taking it out, they said, well, we don't know if we'll let you take it out. I'm like, whoa. What do you mean by that? It's our money.
Well, technically, it's not our money, it's the town's money.
Right.
because-
We put it there.
right.
If we didn't put it there, it wouldn't be town's money.
And this was a hiccup we had way back when we went this route. And so I think we're all acknowledging that the time has come where we need to figure out how to make sure that that money stays secured for the intentions that it was solicited for. So,
Well, they can't take it. That money is in there for what it's for.
It is.
So they can't
They
touch
can't,
that
they
amount.
can't do anything with it, but they could limit what we do with it in terms of removing that money. But however, Yeah, I mean, we would have to make a motion and we would have to have it in place and
Well, that,
I don't know, so.
Yeah, so anyway,
This is what we're,
this, just so you all know, I'm just telling you what Mike and I, as the scholarship and fundraising committee, are thinking about. These are the things I think about. So that's my update. So sorry, thanks for letting me have a few extra minutes.
Good, you're fine.
Up next on the agenda.
So what is that called, a perpetual what?
They call it in perpetuity.
I don't like how we would lose control and we wouldn't be able to
So
read the applicants and pick our own applicants.
So I did reach out to, I have two personal friends who do have very large scholarship. So I reached out to Will's Way, and so I reached out to them because they have a very big scholarship. They give out a scholarship that is $2,000 for multiple years. I reached out to them late this afternoon to find out where their monies lie. Because these are people I trust and they're personal friends. So I want to find out like what decisions they make because they still are selecting their applicant. So I want to know how they're still selecting their applicant if they're in a fund like this. And maybe I'll find out that there's other places that we can put our money that allow us to still have control, right?
You see, there must be, because my old school, I mean, this is, my knowledge is 10 years old now, but my old school, with all those different scholarships that they had, and this is Alberta High School, Hudson, New Hampshire, that total was like $2+ million a year for all the money that they handed out. And it was all in these different scholarships, it was all invested however they did it.
Well, that's what this organization does, and that's how they leverage perpetual giving. That's how they leverage it, is they take all of this money, it's the $18 million, and they are constantly investing it for you. So your scholarship, also by going to $25,000, it would be a $1,000 scholarship. I failed to mention that. It would make it a bigger scholarship. But anyway, I think that there's still a lot of information that I need to
I'd be interested in
research.
how my old school used to do things, because I'm sure they haven't changed too much.
The other thing I don't like about it, and she said there was no way to get around it as a foundation. When I went to the Killingly High School senior night, I was talking to all of the donors. So you get invited to like kind of like a social, you all meet ahead of time. And I was talking to some of the other people, and one of them was like Lions Club, and one of them was the Rotary Club. And the Rotary Club in Killingly was disappointed because the way these foundations work is that they have to write the check to the school. So the actual recipient never touches the money. It goes right into the school. Well, what they discovered was that some universities include that in their
Their
financial packages.
That's true, right?
And that was messing some of the scholars up because some of these scholarships were only 1 year, one-time commitments. And so it was not reflecting accurately as these kids were going through sophomore, junior, and senior year any longer. And so I specifically asked that question when I spoke to the foundation today, and she said, well, we send a letter that says that they shouldn't do that, but we don't police them. Because I asked, because I was
So
like,
clearly they know what happens.
Yes.
Yeah.
so that part didn't leave me feeling right because, and some of what I heard today, I almost want to keep it if that's how the parameters are going to be, then we need to figure out another way to invest our own money differently. Because I want to make sure that, we have criteria for our scholarship recipients. They have to prove they went to a semester. They have to show us their transcript. But that money is their money, whether they need to buy a computer with it or books with it, things that wouldn't be necessarily included in the tuition package. And that's what the universities are doing is they're looking at it in a tuition-only sense. And we've never had an applicant that's been selected that wanted to be a truck driver. Our criteria says that these people can go on to not just a four-year institution. They can choose other careers that support ag. So it kind of like eliminates those people, and I think we need to really think about if we want to keep that aspect open. So, thanks for listening. Okay. Winter market, Sherry Harmon, tours.
All right, so we are now 4 days past the winter market. We made it. We had a total of 62 vendors, including the cupcake truck outside, the chicken hatching demo, and Jim Starr, who was the musician. Total spaces in the gym were 68. We had one person who had 2 vendor spaces who was a no-show. I did receive an email later that night from them, which was very confusing, and I did not reply to them, to be perfectly honest, because I wasn't really sure how to reply to them.
I'd also like to make a mention that I did personally call and leave a voicemail before the event started, and I sent a text.
Yeah. One vendor did reach out to me the morning of, who was ill, and the Plainfield Business Association was able to step into their spot. So we do have a nice vendor survey at the winter market, which I really like. I do have all of those here if people want to look at those. I did not do a little pie chart like I did last year, because I'm over it.
But we got the data.
Yeah, we do. The responses were overwhelmingly positive, and everyone was thrilled and indicated that they were, extremely happy with the experience. There was one vendor who was a soap vendor who did not do as well as she normally did. And she was like, well, you have one more soap vendor than you did last year. And I was like, I can't control that one of the farmers brought soap. And the Brooklyn Bag Company actually wrote a percentage of sales that she was down from her previous year, which was a pretty significant amount. But even with that, most people were very thrilled and happy, and loved the social media and all of the everything else. I did get a couple of good suggestions on ways that we could improve for next year. One of them was to offer a shuttle service from the lower level back up.
Oh my God.
Well, you're laughing.
No, I was down the low level, so I know. That's why I'm
But
So,
man, now you're driving a bus.
I'll drive it.
I mean, a minivan would be fine too.
Yeah,
Because if we're only having one person.
because instead of having these people go up the stairs and.
Yep, I hear that. So I thought that was a great suggestion. One person suggested that we do some more advertising, like on the Town of Plainfield website. The comment specifically was not everybody had Facebook, which I was like, yeah, that's
Fair.
reasonable.
They did put it on the town.
They did, but it wasn't like over and over and over. Because she was like, I think the comment was, there could be more advertising on your website. I'm like, what website are you talking about? We don't have a website. But it is what it is.
Room to grow.
Yeah. One of the vendors, Farm to Table, was slightly annoyed about having to walk a distance to their milk truck. And that was my fault. Because I was given information about not having people park out back because they needed to utilize that in case of an emergency. But then the community used that for parking. So they came up to me after and they were really, really annoyed because they were like, we could have parked our truck out here and you told us we couldn't. And I said, I'm sorry, that's the information I was given. I can't control where the community works. So I'll know that for next year that they can park their milk truck out back. My personal thoughts on changes for Winter Market 2024, or my personal thoughts. Having the Scouts and National Honor Society was an amazing help.
Yes, absolutely.
Vendor load-in was the fastest it has ever been with 60-something vendors. Like, absolutely amazing, and every single vendor was thrilled to pieces.
We got lots of good comments, and I passed them along to our troop meeting last night. I just wanted to say, and sorry to interrupt,
No, you're good.
if I may. Troop 73 supplied 9 scouts, 2 leaders, 2 committee people, 2 parents, equals 15. So 15 from our
Fantastic.
Plainfield had roughly 5, a couple of scoutmasters and 2 or 3 kids, so roughly 5 or 6 people altogether.
Yeah.
So they're growing.
They're much
They're growing.
Yeah, they're much smaller.
And the National Honor Society, I really appreciated the compliment, meaning we had some young boys who were using their brute and strength, and then we had some individuals who were able to provide bathroom breaks and have, the ability to man someone's financial business during bathroom breaks. They even started taking orders for vendors and going and purchasing food for them and bringing it back.
Yeah.
So having that
So we gave them
older,
lots of different
having
options.
that older, individual was really helpful as well.
I would eliminate the seed swap, and do that as a standalone event. So there's a National Seed Swap Day, which is the last Saturday in January, so that could be a community event, for next year. I would like to start doing the applications online and, work with the town to figure out how to collect those payments electronically. Of course, I can still provide the old-fashioned way of paper copies and checks if people need to have that done, but that is sort of my goal for next market, is that.
The application process would be simple with a Google form.
Absolutely.
It's the payment
It's going
portion,
to be
yeah.
super easy with a Google form. But, my husband, who's IT, seems to think that should be pretty easy because they already collect electronic payments online through the town hall. So we can just sort of reroute a little bit, and I'll talk to Kevin about that.
I think that's a great suggestion. We need to make it easier on you, Sherry.
Yep. Into the application, I will be adding information about certificates of insurance, health certificates, and something to the effect of all vendors or crafters selling consumable goods must carry their own insurance, and have their temporary food service permits, since that's required by town and state law, with a link to the Northeast District Department of Health. We did unfortunately have one vendor who was not following safety protocols when it comes to food service handling. And if that person cannot commit to that change, then they will no longer be attending the winter market. And they have been a long-standing vendor. Something we might want to consider is adding some sort of educational talk in one of the classrooms, like whether it's a backyard chicken talk or something like that.
May I ask, so on that, in that vein, did West Green Valley give any feedback about how many people he had a conversation with?
He did not, he just circled his 3 things.
Okay, because
4
I
things.
probably would want to reach out to Bill. I unfortunately got sucked into politician world.
I know.
So y'all can come rescue me next time after.
I saw you over there.
After the hour or 45 minutes, I was
That's
like,
all right, we had your coverage.
yeah, no, you did, but like I was done. So.
Do you want to reach out to him and see?
Yeah, I can do it.
And see how that went.
I was thinking we would have him in the cafeteria set up. but-
Yeah, his preference was to do it at the table. That was sort of he, because he's there by himself, he didn't want to leave his space sort of unmanned.
Right, we have an assistant there for part of the
And
day.
it's sort of like, it's just easier for him, like if kids come over or whatever, then he can just be like, hey, you know, and sort of
He likes doing
do like a little hands-on sort of thing. You know, I can sort of envision us having like a set time frame for like some specific talks, like intro to backyard chickens at 11:30
I like it.
in this classroom, you know, talking rate.
Yeah, those were all good things.
Get back. I have a couple things to add. Again, the Boy Scouts and the National Honor Society, those kids and the parents, they were just absolutely phenomenal. Kind, wonderful, they were totally to help. It was like they just didn't balk at anything, and they were going all day long, they did not stop. It was just amazing. The seed swap, I heard raves about that, so but I know that
You're like, don't take it away.
No, but I love the idea about, we can even put it,
yeah, but I'm just saying, that people really enjoyed it. I mean, they were like, they couldn't believe it. That was like really nice. I really like your idea about the little talks, because as far as like the bees and things like that, I know what happens. Like my son, he ended up like talking to, I don't remember which vendor was that first one with the bees and the honey, and because he's a beekeeper also. So, you know, but you take a lot of time from other people going by because you're talking to that one person. So that, I think, would be a really good thing to have different, you know, time segments aside from, you know, so people can do that. I think it was fantastic overall. It was very good. And Sherry, you did amazing. I mean, it's just, that's an understatement. It's just an understatement because the amount of work. And you too, Mike, and you know, the 3 of you was like, hello. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, you guys did a wonderful job.
Came out great. I you know, we can't, Sherry does a lot. And Sherry, For those of you who don't check out Facebook regularly, it's very cute, you know. Sherry now asks the vendors to send in a little statement. You know, there's a lot of PR that goes into the event. And I think that helps other people, you know, they share it on their Facebook pages, which, you know, is organic advertising.
It is.
So lots of wonderful things happen that I don't know everybody can appreciate how much goes into the prep work, so.
It's a real plus for agriculture.
Sure is. And if people are coming from New Britain and someone said, oh, I called my friend from Dudley because this was so wonderful while I was at it. So I'm like, oh, yeah.
I had family coming down from Massachusetts.
Yeah,
so.
Kudos.
And we had 9 scouts that were involved. 6 of those kids, it's the first time they ever were involved, they ever done it.
Oh.
They walked away with, wow, this is cool, let's do more of this.
That's
We
awesome.
cut to our red outfit, we just so we made a good impression on those impressionable kids.
That's
Yes,
very
that's
cool.
what we needed.
That's really good.
All right, thank you.
Oh, not
Letting me
that,
derail. No, I meant thank you for letting me
No,
derail.
you're welcome.
You keep going.
Sorry, it's a lot, and then I'll be done for like a couple of months. All right, so our financials, so our vendor fees, we took in $1,999. Our building use custodial fee, I mean, this is not new information, we've gone over this stuff before, $430.50. The raffle permit fee was $20. The entertainment was $100. Advertising in the Turnpike Bar Shopper's Guide was $312. The signage was $311.35, which you guys already approved. Printing that I had done at Staples, which included the vendor surveys and the scavenger hunts for the kids, was $83.91.
So we need a motion.
I will be making a motion to seek reimbursement for that $83.91.
I'd like to make a motion.
No, we have a motion.
No, I
She
made a
made
motion.
it. So you second it?
Second.
Yeah,
All right, so we have a motion on the table for $83 and some odd
91 cents.
91 cents for the Staples printing for the materials used at the market. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion will carry for reimbursement.
Thank you. Chris, who is not here tonight, is also seeking reimbursement of $63.86 for the chicken craft. So I am making a motion for that.
Second.
Any discussion regarding the $63.86 reimbursement for the chicken craft? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion will carry for reimbursement as well.
Thank you very much. All right, so with those sort of all out of the way, our sort of ending balance with the winter market is $675.38.
Okay. Do we have anything that carried over from last year?
I have no idea.
Okay. Again, these funds sit in the town's open general fund.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look into that.
I will
mean,
look into that.
You can see. I don't know.
That 675 goes along with links to whatever it was.
No, we always have kept them separate.
Okay.
So, and we do that for a couple reasons. What if we have a year where we have more expenses than, so I just want to talk to Kelly Vachon and make sure that, like, what do we have that lingers in that? Because she does have line items for us. You know, there's a scholarship line item, and then there's an ag commission line item. And every commission has a certain, separate of all of this, every commission has a set number, I think it's $500 for recording secretaries. But I just want to make sure where we stand. So that is to kind of cover that, and you know, who knows what the janitor expenses are going to be? That generally is our largest expense.
It may end up being a little bit more because we did stay
A
extra.
little longer.
Actually, I have one more thing for the winter market too. After.
Yeah, go for it. Keep going.
But yeah, we did end up staying because we said we would be out of there by 3. We were out of there closer to 4.
Yeah, not so
So they might bill us.
So they might
for
bill
that.
us for the extra hour, which I think is $75, so we might get hit with a little bit extra, or they might not, who knows? And then if they decide to, we had a vendor who dragged one of her totes across the gym floor during load out procedure and scraped the floor a bit, not super heavily deep, but if they decide to potentially charge us for
Re-waxing the floor.
waxing or buffing or anything like that, we would incur that expense as well. So that's another good reason why we don't take this money out of this account and move it elsewhere. Otherwise, I would be like, yeah,
Mhm.
send it to scholarship, I don't care.
Just to add my thoughts, you haven't heard back from the gym people. I think
Not,
the gym
but-
traffic has buffed those out, just all those little sneakers running across.
Yeah, I mean, and so here's the thing with the gym thing, I called Dave's wife, I had her phone number, because he's the honey guy, I don't have his personal cell number, and that's the number that was given on their application. I called them as I was leaving the market, and I said, Pat, please have Dave give me a call, you know, I just need to talk to him about something. I didn't say what it was about, because I didn't want her to relay that message and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I still have not gotten a call from him.
Oh, I will call him. I'll give him a call.
You will give him a call?
Yeah, and so this.
I mean, it's not that I haven't
No,
tried, but I'm
no.
not gonna keep like,
No.
Right.
I mean,
I
I
didn't
do.
realize that was the guy I had to call.
This is a testament
Dave,
actually to our
it's
National
not
Honor
even trying to
Society
get
students.
Dave.
They witnessed it
I don't have
happen.
his
And they
cell.
reported it.
And they came to us and reported it, and so we were able to go back and look at the floor. We were able to take photographs of it and assess the situation, so everything was handled
And
as well as it could be.
the National Honor Student, we did it, we actually had a map of the vendors with way more, and that's how she was able to.
Yeah.
I'm so impressed with it. Yeah. Those National Honor Society students were kind of.
Yeah, the twins were our president and vice president of National Honor Society.
And their mom, so the
And their-
twins, and their mom was working in the
Yeah,
dining
she's one
hall.
of the- she's one of the chefs,
They
so.
were just, they were like the two super.
All right, so the last thing that I have for winter market, and I know it's sort of crazy, but we do need to set winter market 2024 dates. And the reason for that is because the building use form needs to be submitted between May 1st and May 31st. Because I was looking at the building use form, and that's the date frame that they have for us, for our sort of type 2 events, community events. And we didn't do that because, you know, we were late last year. So we were lucky we even got the high school to begin with last year. So I'd like to get it in on time, and I'd like to have 2
Do you have
potential
suggestions?
dates. Yes.
Okay. 2024,
Going to 2024, so I'm scrolling.
9th or 16th.
And to pick the same weekend. My 2 cents worth.
Do you know when you are,
It's always the first weekend in March.
Which this year would be, that would be the
that would be
second.
the second.
Yeah, it's always the first weekend.
So my idea was either the 9th or the 16th.
I need a motion.
Oh, and actually, no, it has to be,
16th or 23rd?
yeah, because
Or the second? I'm afraid to go to the 23rd because.
it's not in winter anymore technically.
Right.
Hold on. 1, 2, 3. No, I'm good. So either oh, yeah, there you go, what? So I like the 9th, March 9th.
Okay.
So that's the date I'd like to submit, and I will submit for the 16th as a backup date.
Randy?
Well, a date in case the high school says, no, you can't have the 9th. Do we want to do a snow date? If we're doing it March 9th? Or do we haven't really ever done snow dates, or do we just want to be like, nope,
9th, you might be running into basketball season if there, that's possibly, you know.
Oh, yeah, for sure,
Yeah.
that's,
So I'd say the 16th would be better. But again, I would submit them both anyway, what the heck. If they say no to the 9th, you got the 16th.
I say if we could have someone make a motion with giving Sherry the leverage to,
Either have it on the 9th or the 16th,
Right.
make a motion.
or to make an on-the-spot decision when working with the public schools. A second for that?
Yes.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Go for it, Sherry, set us a date for next year. If I may also make a suggestion, Sherry, based on feedback from last, were you gonna talk about this? I don't want to step on your plate.
who seconded that motion?
It was for,
Thank you.
you're welcome. So last year, we all know that we put the best market we could in the town hall and we smashed as many people as we could in the town hall. Well, those surveys came back and some vendors were disappointed that perhaps they were not in ideal traffic flow because we had vendors everywhere. So this year, Sherry and I made a decision on the fly that it was best to keep everybody together in the gym because we had had that kind of negative feedback last year. We turned away, and I got to see the traffic, we turned away anywhere from 15 to 20 vendors who reached out literally the day before. People were asking for spots.
They didn't all reach out the day.
No, but up until the day
leading
before,
up
people were
to-
like, hey, I heard you're having an event. Really?
And the morning of as well.
Morning of, someone showed up.
We had someone show up.
Showed up ready with their stuff in their car. So maybe we could have, and this is just a thought, we did have the cafeteria, which was a large space, but we opted not to use it because we didn't want anyone ostracized, because that was the feedback. But a consideration could be that if there are late applications, that they could be told there is this overflow area, but they would not be in prime real estate. I don't know, just a thought.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm granted a lot of sort of leeway as the winter market chair
Yeah,
to
you
sort of make those sort of decisions. So that's sort of the plan that I had in place.
Okay.
Or, you know, even for sort of some of those last minute people, they could have a 6-foot section like on a wall too. Like if we get like a crazy amount of people, because I still like having half of the cafeteria
I do
be seating. And I think the way that we had the raffle set up was pretty nice, so we could have some vendors in that area.
Yeah, we hit them up before they could even walk through the door.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that where we were selling raffles will need to change because that really sort of bogged down the hallway. But,
The worst part is when you try to tell them, come over here,
yeah,
and they,
yeah, so, and the other thing is adding, I didn't put that in my notes, but adding a sign, because people were coming, like seeing me like do stuff in the cafeteria and they're like, where are all the vendors? And I'm like, down in the gym. So I need like to have a big sign printed like vendors, black and white with an arrow that way. Remind me of that next year.
I will.
So, yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking in terms of, and realistically, we could fit a couple more vendors inside of the gym. We had one vendor in their notes, say that they did not believe that their spot was a 10 by 10. I know that they were.
They definitely were.
Oh, they were.
No, I know that they were, so it was Keith's Creations who said that, who was next to Melody Hope Honey, who I do believe took bigger than a 10 by 10 space. And I think that they moved into Keith's spot.
Yeah.
So Keith did not feel like he got his actual spot, which I completely understand. And I wasn't in there in the morning at all, because I was out front in the building. So I could see, like, when I went into the gym, I was like, wow, their spot is huge. So I could see how that, you know,
That happened.
yeah, it does happen, but it shouldn't
I
happen.
know it shouldn't, but it just, some people are a little.
But, you know, and
greedy.
because some of those spots were actually like 11 by 11, I mean, we could probably, and like Haber Inn, like their spot down at the end, I could have easily fit like 2 vendors there, like down by the doors and stuff. So there were places where we could have fit a couple extra people in the gym if we needed to as well.
Well, that's like, even when you're talking about putting them in the hall, that, to me, would be beneficial to them because it'd be before they even got into the market. So
Yeah, like
that would
maybe
be-
offering a less, like if they don't need, if an organization doesn't need a 10 by 10, for example,
Right.
and they just have they just need a 6-foot table
Put them on a
spot.
table like that.
Yeah,
Table.
like you have a table and you have a chair behind it, and that's all the stuff that they need, offer it at a reduced cost, so that they're not paying the same price that a 10 by 10 would be paying. And they're in the hallway versus having a huge spot.
And
The
like,
only
as they
problem
come
with
in,
that, I said, the only problem with that is the fire department worried about access, people going through there, but again,
I know my 10 by 10 spot, I was swimming in it. It was big.
Yeah, I mean, we did, looking at the application from last year, we did 8 by 8s. So we actually gave them, and a lot of the vendors were like, wow, it's so roomy. So a lot of that was said. I mean, I don't wanna necessarily reduce people. I think they got their money's worth. But, I think offering maybe a smaller section,
just put a row of smaller ones along the wall or something on one wall,
Mhm.
we could do that pretty easy.
Yeah, just one side of the hallway, like from when you come in the door to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
cafeteria.
Yeah, they do it at
Yeah.
Killingley High School, but I don't know
They
if their
should do it.
hallways are wider.
Their hallway is a bit wider, and they actually do it on both sides
Right.
of their hallway. So their walking space is actually considerably smaller, but, I mean, there's certainly a lot of
My
wiggle
personal
room.
opinion is, I didn't like it.
Didn't like what, killing it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's how they fit, so.
I know. But they do jam-pack a gym, their cafeteria is jam-packed. Their cafeteria is set up just like our gym was. The gym, the cafeteria.
Yeah, and their spots are only 6-foot spots, 6 by 6.
Oh, is that why it seems
It's
so
gonna be
long?
jam-packed.
Yep.
And what
Because
about
I'm
that hallway
because I'm
that
a
goes
member.
across from the cafeteria, they kind of like, what about that? That's a pretty good sized hallway, but you don't wanna, that would really be kind of.
Yeah, I feel like that would be really sort of off the beaten path.
So if we did
Unless we
right
had
from
like
the door
really,
all the
unless we
way
had
to the
really
gym.
good signage,
Yeah, so that's such a bright area.
It
you know,
is.
that-
It's
that's a
really
bright
nice
area
there.
where as-
Yeah, I mean, we have wiggle room,
Yeah,
but,
going down from the doorway all the way to gym, that's kind of dark hallway.
I mean, I hate turning people away, but,
I know there's some people, when I let them know, it's like, yeah, well, people didn't show, a couple people, just like one vendor, two. Oh, it's like.
Yeah. all right, I think that's everything I have. I'm sorry for monopolizing.
You're fine.
And I was directing traffic out there with myself in uniform, people obeyed somebody in uniform, let me tell you. That's always been something. We had one scoutmaster, we had a Plainfield scoutmaster on the corner down there, and I was directing 4 people in, and it went very well.
Yep.
Yeah.
The kids unloaded stuff, and I kinda had to holler, hey, Matthew, come on, help us over here.
Yeah,
Kids all-
I will
all
say
over.
the Boy Scouts, they did very well when you told them the floor number. So like, that was what my job was. I met the vendors, I confirmed who they were, where their spot was, and then I told the Boy Scouts the number, and they were like clockwork to those numbers, like that was helpful.
And just for check-in, I think what I will,
That's good.
instead of standing in front of the school, I would have somebody stand on the hill, because there were a lot of vendors who didn't even check in with me. They just saw other people driving down to the side, because that's when I did hey, I'm missing a lot of vendors. And we did the check-in, and there was like 6 vendors who I never even saw. They just snuck down to it.
Plainfield scoutmaster held them up, you know.
Yeah, I know, I mean, nope, they still snuck down because I
Oh,
never
no, he
saw
held them up, so
them.
we kept,
No, he meant that we
Yeah. Oh,
maintained
yeah.
4.
Right.
Yeah.
We maintained
No, that's
4.
not what I mean. So they were supposed to check in with me first before going anywhere else.
there was a lot of folks that had no idea what their number was, but
Yeah.
there's.
Right, because they
Every
missed that.
vendor that I saw down below, I said that needed to be,
Or they forgot it. A lot of people I know checked in with you, and by the time they got back to the
Yeah.
parking
Yeah.
spot, they
Sure
were,
happened,
"Ooh,"
too.
they didn't remember, so that was,
fine.
yeah.
Now, as far as letting people, when people were packing out, I took my spot again as being directed traffic, and we had 14, I counted, at one time, we had 14 vehicles all loading and loading up, and nobody blocked anybody in, and there were no fender benders.
Good.
So I just was directed around, again, send down.
Nice,
uniform,
so that
direct
could
traffic.
probably increase, you know.
And we were in a pickle, we might wanna make sure if we use, you know, I hope that we use the space again, the dining hall people all
Yes.
worked back there. I did go and ask them to move, and there was some resistance, so maybe if we could arrange that ahead of time with Dave, because that would have helped. We lost like 3.5
Yeah.
spots to,
Initially getting started, getting unloading.
Yeah, or at
started
least
at
have them
11 o'clock.
like park like in that, you know, where they say they jump the curb.
yeah,
You know, maybe they can park there for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then.
Even on the grass alongside there, you know, but they had to park, that interrupted things to start.
but all in all,
Fine,
we
yeah.
navigated well, so.
Yeah.
We got around it though, yes.
Awesome, thank you very much, Sherry.
Good
So,
job, Sherry.
I know, I feel like the standing ovation's needed, but I think we all know that effort that Sherry put in. So Right to Farm, while I have no official update on our Right to Farm movement, I'm just letting y'all know, Ashford's Ag Commission reached out for support on Right to Farm, to me personally. So we need to revisit this, and I'm not gonna spend much time because we're cutting down the wire, but I think now more than ever, knowing what's happening to our ag land across the country, if anyone's interested, there's some reports that are out about the urban sprawl, and if we don't make changes, we're losing 2,000 acres of farmland every day across the country. And Connecticut is on par to lose 40% of their ag lands by 2040. And so these types of initiatives, the Right to Farm, is one step in a multitude of steps to slowing this down. And so I need to pick that back up, so.
I just like to echo, I mentioned it to Paul at the beginning, about every 6 months, I get some unauthorized letter in the mail wanting to buy a chunk of my property.
Yeah.
And someplace in Colorado or California, they've just gone to a plat map in the town and picked a green.
So maybe, thinking, not to go back to community outreach, but now with my new role at American Farmland Trust, I now have access to a lot of information about farmland conservation. And so maybe while we've always done our outreach towards patrons, maybe we need to consider an outreach towards landowners in general. So anyway, that's just one thought. Farmers Market, no update that, as we all know that grant didn't pass. Plainfield farming history.
Yes, April 1st, Troop 73 is gonna conduct a hike to, essentially, we're gonna locate cell holes in that area, and my goal is to pinpoint those on our map. So that, hopefully weather will be with us, and the kids are, they have to do.
They're amped up.
Yeah, they wanna do stuff, and, like I said, there's at least 8 or so cell holes heading to the south, and I never hike the trail to the north. So I'm guessing there could be that many more.
Where is this again?
It's off of Spalding Road, the state property, off of Spalding Road.
Is that part of the Petro?
Yes.
Okay.
Once upon a time, it was a booming agricultural
Yes.
area.
Wow.
We're talking 200 years ago, so you can replace it without the road up there. So I think that's my place for that. And beyond that, I don't know what we're gonna do with that, what we dug up. I need to talk to Mrs. Berger on the historical site, and see what she has any ideas. That's my report.
Awesome.
More information next month.
Perfect. Community events. When is Meet Your Farm, Know Your Farm?
Know Your Farmer Fair is April 1st from 11 to 2 p.m. in Willimantic. I already wrote that in my notes.
Thank you. No, it's 11 to 2. Any other upcoming events?
I attended the Connecticut Christmas Tree Growers annual meeting back on, first Saturday in March, whatever date that was. And, yeah, it was good. I got to visit with folks that I hadn't seen in a long time. And it was just good. And then listening to it. A lot of stuff about marketing. I got a few ideas to keep the deer away. Not using Smith & Wesson. But anyway.
So that's the Christmas Tree Growers Association?
Yeah, Connecticut Christmas Tree Growers Association, CCTGA.
Anything else? I know that DFA is happening right now, not that that pertains to local people any longer, but people are out in Kansas right now to that dairy conference or meetup. Don't put that in the minutes, but that's happening right now. Any other highlights? Okay. Any new business that needs to be added to our agenda for this month? Any public comment?
This was great.
Linda, we're glad you joined us tonight. You should come back every month. Fourth Wednesday, 7 o'clock. The early entertainment was, free of charge. Anything else?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
So, all in favor to adjourn the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned at 7:58 p.m.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome.
Oh, do you need a pen?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Jen,
Yes, Linda.
you didn't say cut.
Cut! That's not